Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me today in this live webinar from the Hill Country north of San Antonio, Texas. Today's subject is a very important subject on herbal treatments for gas and bloating. So most people have digestive issues. They're just not aware that they have digestive issues. You can keep on living. You can keep functioning, you can keep going. When you have digestive issues, of course, this leads to malabsorption, which leads to depletion, which can lead to hair loss, degenerative bone conditions, fatigue, muscle wasting, cramping, and nutritional deficiencies by having poor digestion. So it is very important. In fact, for every patient that I see digestive imbalances. So not diseases per se like IBS or irritable bowel or ulcerative colitis or stomach ulcers, but just imbalances in the digestion, which is creating malabsorption, we could say, poor absorption of nutrients, and more, it's creating metabolic toxins, just like a poor running engine would create soot and build up soot and inside of the engine and inside the exhaust pipe. When our engine of digestion isn't running properly, we also accumulate toxins. We are making our own toxins. So even though you may be eating healthy food, organic food, have good eating habits, but if your digestion is poor, then you can still be creating toxins, which can lead to nutritional deficiencies, fatigue, and other symptoms like I mentioned, including hair loss, degenerative bone conditions, soft nails, brittle nails, and of course, as I mentioned a few times, fatigue and weakness. So what are the signs of poor digestion? We're going to cover signs and types of digestion. We're going to cover causes of poor digestion. Particularly, we're going to focus today on gas and bloating in comparison with, say, acidity, heartburn, ulcerative colitis. These are more inflammatory conditions, which I've covered in other webinars. So when it comes to gas and bloating, there's many causes, but let's just look first at the different types of digestive imbalances, so we know which category we're in. There's first, of course, in Ayurveda, it's very sophisticated, and there's different types of digestion. First, we'll start with Manda Agni. Manda means dull, and Agni means digestive fire. So Manda Agni means dull digestion, means a lack of appetite, means no hunger. This type of person is not hungry until later in the day, and often doesn't get hungry till 2, 3 o'clock. And then, of course, they overeat, and sometimes they eat into the night. This type of person will gain weight, feel heavy, feel lethargic, and even though they're not eating much, still will gain weight. Unfortunately, people think that by not being hungry is a good thing and they'll lose weight, but it's actually a sign of poor digestion, and often it accompanies with poor metabolism, low energy, often overeating at night, which creates the cycle where you're not hungry in the morning, then you delay eating later to the day. So that's one type of digestion, not directly covered here, but it's important to understand that category. The second type is called Trikshna Agni. This is where the digestive fire, or Panchaka Pitta, the fire within us, is to digestive fire, which would make up, say, stomach acids, hydrochloric acids, and even the bile coming from the gallbladder, where it's too strong, where the person's too hungry. Trikshna means sharp, and Agni means hunger. So it means a sharp hunger. This is the person who's hangry, who's burning, I need to eat now. They even eat a big meal, and then 2 hours later, they're still hungry. Well, this is a type of digestive imbalance as well, often not understood in the West, not even really classified, but in Ayurveda, it's one of the 3 major types of digestive imbalance. Trikshna Agni, too sharp, too hot, too burning. We'll cover it slightly here in this class, but the main area we're going to focus on is called Vishama Agni. Vishama Agni means variable, sometimes hungry, sometimes not hungry, and often accompanies a lot of gas, bloating, and constipation. So we're going to focus a lot today on gas and bloating, since that's the name of our class, but I will help you to understand some of the herbs that I provide will help with Trikshna Agni, sharp burning, strong digestion, and Manda Agni, dull, slow, heavy type of feeling after meal digestion as well. Because you need to be able to know what category you're in to be able to treat yourself. For example, I mean, if you have this Trikshna Agni, the strong digestion, you have tendency to acid reflux and heartburn, and you're really hungry, you can't be having strong hot spices like ginger, for example. So you still need to know which category you're in. Even if you're having gas and bloating, what I teach you will help you, but you can't use the same herbs if you have this burning acid type of digestion and gas and bloating. And if you have this really dull, not so hungry digestion, you also have to adjust the herbs. So there's no one treatment for gas and bloating. It depends first on the state of your digestion. Of course, in Ayurveda, your prakriti, your body type, and other factors, including even the season and the stage in life that you're in. But we'll just focus on these three categories for now. We're going to leave out more serious health issues like irritable bowel, leaky gut, ulcerative colitis, stomach ulcers. I have videos and classes on all these types of inflammatory intestinal conditions. But today we're focused on gas and bloating. So next, I'd like to cover the causes before we get to the herbal remedies. And we're just going to do mostly herbal remedies with just a few herbs here. But we really have to eliminate the cause. Most people are causing their gas and bloating. You could have any of these three types of digestion, the sharp, the dull, the variable, and still have gas and bloating because you're causing it. Most people are causing it because, unfortunately, we weren't taught these things. I have many videos on this. This is just basic Ayurvedic knowledge. So, it's an ancient science, and Hippocrates covered many of the same subjects on food combining. So number one cause is snacking, grazing, particularly on anything we could say a protein or fatty food. And one of the worst things you could be snacking on is nuts. Nuts are heavy, dense, oily. They have both protein and fat, so they require a lot of your digestive capacity, stomach acids, enzymes, bile. It's all necessary to digest a nut. So it's very taxing on the system. Most people are eating them while they're moving, driving, walking, which makes it even more difficult to digest. And of course, they lead to bloating, gas, constipation, and weight gain. Many of my clients who thought they were a little overweight wanted weight loss herbs and other type of weight loss, products from me. But I told them to stop the snacking on the cookies, the crackers, the nuts, and they lost that extra little 4 or 5 pounds. So a lot of times when a person just has bloating or a little extra weight right in the front, not the tire going around the side, but more the little pooch in the front, this can be constipation because their bowels are not moving, or maybe only once a day or skipping a day. So it's constipation, which also comes from poor digestion. And sometimes people mistaken that they're put on weight, and really they're just having chronic digestive problems, and it's giving them this belly. But they try to starve themselves, run on a treadmill, and they still have this belly because it's related to their digestion. So it's very, very common. People are talking to me about weight loss, but it's actually just digestion and constipation. Get the bowels moving a couple times a day, not just once, and clean it out, and then improve the digestion and get rid of some of these causes like snacking on nuts, crackers, and cookies. And you see the belly come right down. They lose a few pounds, and they never had to take any herbs for it. So you can snack. I didn't say no snacking. You can have fruit. Fruit should only be eaten by itself. And that's the second rule for food combining, which is probably one of the most common reasons for gas and bloating besides snacking on nuts. And that's combining fruit with your meal. Many patients have told me they took the strawberries off their oatmeal, no more gas and bloating. They waited a couple hours until having their little fruit dessert after meal, no more gas and bloating at night. So it's very common. Now you can have small amounts of fruit with the meal, but generally it should be small and dried or cooked, not juicy, sweet fruits. Other food combining issues is having what's called double protein, where you're having beans and meat, or beans and egg. These are what called double protein, or egg and meat, or milk and eggs. I mean, milk shouldn't go with too many things. It can just go with grains, but shouldn't go with another protein. And this makes it difficult for the digestive system to digest these double proteins, it's called. So you should just either have your fish, have your beans, or have your eggs, but don't mix these two. Don't have 2 or 3 of those together. It's heavy and hard to digest. Another common cause for gas and bloating is cold foods, cold drinks, cold water. Having ice water with your meals is a sure way to put on weight, congest your system, and create gas and bloating, and ultimately have malabsorption just from having cold water with your meal, and not having cold water after the meal. It's like an oven. You need to cook your food, put it in an oven and cook it. And when you have cold water before the meal, you're turning down the temperature of the oven. You're unable to digest the food, and you feel heavy and bloated after meals. And of course, when you're not digesting well, you feel heavy, you feel bloated, you don't have energy. And gas and bloating is just a sign and symptom. It's not a disease. It's a symptom of your poor digestion. Just like, smoke bellowing out of the back of a car doesn't mean the car engine is really bad. And it's still running, it's still going, but obviously it's not very fuel efficient. It's probably wasting a lot of fuel, doesn't have good pickup, doesn't have a good performance. And all it really needs is a little tune-up, and it will be fine. The engine could be perfectly fine. It's the same for your digestion. When you're getting gas and bloating, that just means your digestive system's not running well. And you may live with it and hide it, hold it in, or whatever, but still digestion is poor. And eventually you're not going to have good performance. You're not going to have good pickup. You're not going to have good energy. You're going to have to eat more foods. You can have all types of cravings, even though you ate, because you're not digesting and absorbing your food well. Other important tips just for digestion. I mean, I had many classes on digestion. Don't eat too fast, chew your food well, and don't be standing while eating. Another reason for gas and bloating is too much fermented foods. I had many people who were drinking kombucha, a lot of yogurt, and they were wondering why they're all bloated. Well, it's all fermented. They're fermenting inside their body, and then they're getting even burping, flatulence, bloating, all from drinking a bunch of kombucha or having a lot of fruit with fermented foods. Like one of the worst food combining is fruit and yogurt, which is very common. You have a fermented dairy product and you're going to mix it with a fruit that could even be a little sour. I mean, you remember in science class where we mixed baking soda and vinegar? Well, you're pretty close when you start doing, some fruits that have a little sour to them, like a kiwi or pineapple, and you mix it with fruit. I mean, no wonder you're gas and bloating. I mean, you can get away with having a little dried fruit in your oatmeal, like coconut, which is really a nut, little dried mango, few raisins. That's not going to create it. It's those juicy, sweet ones, the blueberries, the strawberries on your oatmeal. That's what gets most people. So these smoothies are another big cause of digestive problems and bloating. And I had one young lady, she used to call it her air baby. It's because it looked like she was pregnant. People kept thinking she was pregnant, but she just had this big bloated belly. And we found out it was just coming from her smoothie because, nobody's thinking of proper food combining when you have these smoothies. They're putting in all this fruit, vegetables, coconut oil, anything that's popular now. Goji berries used to be in, then turmeric was in, and now mushrooms are in. So they throw all this together, throw in some coconut oil, blend it all up with some frozen vegetables. So you're breaking every food combining rule there is, confusing your system, and it's cold. So it kind of just clogs your whole system. And people think, well, I wasn't hungry all day. And that's because you clogged up your entire system. And many people have stopped these smoothies and found that their bloating went away. And too heavy of foods, when you have a weak digestion, can also be an issue. You should never eat if you're not hungry. You should never make your children eat if they're not hungry. You need to not allow them to snack and not allow yourself to snack so you become hungry. Of course, regular eating times, eating at the same time, not snacking between the meals, not eating too late, and having a regular routine for your eating schedule all helps. Again, there is a lot of information I've provided and Ayurveda has provided about improving your digestion. But again, it's very important. And every client that I have to improve their digestion, every single case. Even though they may come with weight loss issues, anxiety issues, high blood pressure issues, cholesterol issues, still, it's always digestion is one of the causes. When you have high cholesterol, for example, you're not digesting fat very well. So you have these lipids in your blood, this high fat level, because you're not able to digest it in many cases. So we actually, of course, this digestion is done by the bile, which is made by the liver, which is a slightly different subject, but still, it's still a type of digestion. And when you snack, you use up your digestive capacity, and then you're less hungry for your meal, and then you eat less, and then you get hungry at night. So, grazing, snacking, eating late at night, crazy food combining, these are all your cold foods. These are all common causes. And you really should simplify your foods down. If somebody's having like irritable bowel or leaky gut or a serious painful abdominal condition, even stomach ulcers, we limit their foods, make it more simple. Just have your mung dal, you have your rice, you have some steamed vegetables and a little ghee and some mild spices. But when you have multiple foods, multiple dishes, then of course it's more difficult for the system. So simplifying your foods down, having less different types of vegetables all mixed together, and never, of course, having fruit with the meal. Okay, so let's start off with a few spices, because spice will always help your digestion. That's why spice has been valued for centuries. In fact, we had the whole spice trade. That's what motivated the Portuguese, to go around the Horn of Africa and get to the source of the spices in the world, which was India, and bring it back themselves. Because prior to that, of course, the Indians were shipping it over to, the Middle Eastern countries, modern day Dubai and Yemen, and then the Arabs were carrying it across the desert in their camels and doubling, tripling the price and selling it in, the Mediterranean, modern day Lebanon. And these cardamom at one point was equal to the price of gold by weight. So spices have always been valued in history because they help you with your digestion. And if your digestion is strong, generally your energy will be better, your health will be better, your immunity will be better. And when your digestion's poor, it becomes a cascade of health problems. So now we have all these spices available, and I encourage you to cook with spices as well, and use some of these same spices that I'm covering here in your cooking: ginger, cumin, coriander, fennel, ajwain, and others. But we'll just cover these basic ones today. So if you don't have acid reflux, heartburn, or Trikshna Agni, too sharp of digestion, one of the simplest spice you can use to make your digestion stronger is ginger. So this is chopped and sifted organic ginger, and it's very hot, actually. That's why if you're a Pitta Prakriti or you have a Pitta Vikriti where you're very hot and sweaty and burning up, you have burning sensation, acid reflux and heartburn, don't eat this. We'll give you some other choices. Even one piece is quite hot. The next one I want to cover is cumin. Cumin's probably the best spice for gas and bloating, and it has a wonderful flavor. And if you notice in South America, they cook most of their beans in cumin because, you know, when you have too much beans, particularly large beans that haven't been washed and soaked overnight, you get gas and bloating. That's one cause, of course, of gas and bloating is large beans. Another cause of gas and bloating is a raw cabbage family, particularly kale, cabbage, cauliflower. So if you're having raw kale and you're getting a lot of gas and bloating, and you have a Vata Prakriti or Vata type of person who's cold, light, dry, thin type of person, easy to get gas and bloating. Don't have cabbage family. It's very gassy. Only if you have a very strong digestion can you have it, particularly raw. So, but cumin is one of the best for you. And you can make a little tea called just with cumin and ginger and sip this with your meal. And if you're not hungry, you can even have it before your meal to stimulate your appetite and heat up the oven and get the digestion going. There's coriander, our next, the seed of cilantro. Now it's actually cooling, a little sweet. Now when we make the teas, we crush the coriander a little bit and break it up with a mortar. So that way it brings out the flavor. And it's very cooling. And if you have acid reflux or heartburn, you can still do coriander. And here's fennel. I have fennel. This is from my desk. Fennel is very sweet. And you can chew on it after meals to bring down the appetite. And, you know, when it's too dry, it's not as good. This one's getting a little dry. It should be a little soft, a little sweet, and, you know, kind of a juicy feeling to it. Good fennel. And then, of course, there's the king of spices, cardamom, which used to be the same price as gold. Well, I'm going to leave this little tray on my desk because a cardamom is like a mint. It's so delicious. I have cardamom powder, and I just throw a little bit in a lot of my teas, and it's very nice. Another good spice that's not commonly used in the West, but very popular in India is ajwain. You see, we got this from the Indian shop. Sometimes hard to get. Now, ajwain, it's also related to celery seed. It's very tasty. It's kind of a little, peppery, similar to cumin, and has similar effect, but nice, rich flavor. So let me show you how you could use these. You can mix them together. And also peppermint, it's very nice, helpful. So here's a tea that's just for gas and bloating. See, improves digestions during and after meals and is for gas and bloating. Peppermint, lemon balm, cumin, licorice, ginger, fennel, cinnamon, and there's that ajwain that I just talked about. So, you know, you could at home, you could just make, if you're don't have acidity or heartburn, you could just get cumin and ginger, mix it together and sip it with the meals. Maybe better, you could put cumin, ginger, and some peppermint together, and you could make a similar tea. But this is the best tea mix that we have for gas and bloating. And you just sip it with the meals. You don't have a big cup. You just make a little cup. You're not drinking it with the meals. You're just sipping it along with your meals. It will help a lot. Or before the meal if you don't have much appetite. Now, if you're overweight and heavy and have no appetite and maybe get gas and bloating sometimes when you overeat, but the main sign is you're not even hungry till 1, 2 o'clock, then you have what's called Manda Agni, dull digestion. So here's the product we recommend. Stimulates digestion before meal, overcomes heaviness after meals, and even helps with blood sugar because of the cinnamon and fenugreek. But there you go. There's the peppermint again. There's the ginger. There's the cumin, cinnamon. Fenugreek is warming, and cloves and black pepper is very hot. So this is a very hot, stimulating type of tea. It's really chai tea without the black tea, because traditionally the Indians made chai tea, and only actually after the British conquered them and enslaved them for 300 years did they start adding in the black tea. Unfortunately, they're still doing it because they got addicted to it. But the traditional chai did not have black tea. So this basically is a type of chai, and it's very, very good for your digestion if you don't have acidity and heartburn, and particularly if you have no appetite and you're not hungry and you feel heavy after meals and sleepy after meals. Sipping that with the meals will help tremendously. And now, if you are this category that has heartburn, acid, and heat, then we have a special tea for that. Even though you have gas and bloating, you can't do all this ginger, pepper, because it's going to be too strong for you. So we have another one. We don't, instead of peppermint, we use spearmint, and you can see very sweet, mild spices: fennel, coriander, cumin, little cinnamon, and cardamom. Gently strengthens digestion before meals, and even helps reduce the appetite between meals. Because remember, this type of person has a very strong digestion, so they can drink this between the meals, and it will bring down their digestion so they're not hungry. Well, this one is best before the meals to get the agni and get the appetite going. And this one here is for the gas and bloating and the Vishama Agni, and it's best to be sipped right with the meal to help the digestion. Now, of course, there's variations. There's very popular formula: cumin, coriander, fennel. But this is really only useful for the pitta type of person, because both the kapha and the vata type of person need hotter. They need the ginger. They need warmer substances. So this cumin, coriander, fennel is sometimes overused in Ayurveda, I believe, because it's really not heating enough for your vata and kapha prakriti, where they need the ginger. And even kapha can use the clove and the black pepper, even something hotter. So cumin, coriander, fennel is a nice little tea, particularly if you're very sensitive and you get heartburn, had a history of acid reflux, and you get gas and bloating. You can also sip it with the meals or have it between meals. So I hope that helped you to understand how you can take care of your digestive problems just at home by either sipping herbs, or you can have seasonings. We also have matching seasonings for vata, pitta, kapha. This one is a very mild one, sweet. It's got coriander, fennel, mint, turmeric, cardamom, dill, no black pepper, no cumin, no ginger, and no mustard seed, nothing hot. And so it's a very mild one for the person who has a strong appetite, but it will help with digestion and will help with gas and bloating. So in most cases, for most patients, first we educate them on eating habits. Then, of course, we give them the right foods for their own prakriti or body type. Then we'll give them some digestive tea, one of these that I showed here, or we'll just make one for them, and give them some seasoning if they don't have those at home, and they can then cook with the seasoning. And most cases of gas and bloating are gone immediately, because the gas and bloating is coming from your poor digestion and your poor eating habits. And you can fix these and change them very quickly, your digestive condition, by changing your eating habits and changing which foods you eat so they're suitable for you. You don't want to be eating food that's too heavy for your digestive capacity. Just like you can't cook a loaf of bread at 250 degrees in the oven. You need 400 degrees. So if you don't have a strong digestion, you're not going to be able to eat a lot of foods, a lot of heavy foods. So you need to adjust the foods to some degree to your digestive capacity. And once your digestive capacity increases, you can find that you can eat a lot of foods that you couldn't eat before. I have many people who said, "Oh, I can't have dairy." After they improve their digestion, they're having dairy. I have many people said, "Oh, I can't eat this. I can't eat that. I can't, I can't have any wheat. I can't even eat a piece of bread." We like to blame the bread. We like to blame the dairy, but mostly this is your weak digestion coming from your poor eating habits and poor digestion, and it's often very treatable. Even people have celiac who believe, oh, I have an allergic reaction. An allergic reaction is basically, again, a digestive problem. We do not just accept it and say, okay, fine, no more wheat for you for the rest of your life. No, well, we improve the digestion. And of course, with something like celiac, there's an autoimmune element to it. So we have to provide some other herbs to modulate the immune system and bring down its reaction and then improve the digestion. But in most cases, we always see that people have poor eating habits, eating the wrong food, doing complex food combining. And this is really the root cause of their food allergies. Now, we do have food allergy formula. We have IBS formula. We have, acidity formula. We have more formulas, even a gas and bloating formula. But, today we just wanted to cover these basic herbs and spices, basically, that you could use at home to improve your own digestion. If you have any more serious health issues, then, contact me. For example, serious digestive issues like I've mentioned, acid reflux, heartburn, ulcerative colitis, chronic constipation, and such, then, you may need additional help and additional products to help you out. So I hope this helped you. I hope this gives you hope. Hope this helps you improve your digestion tomorrow. Please follow these rules for food combining and eating habits, stopping the nuts. Don't have crazy food combining, no cold foods. And try to use more seasoning in your food, and sipping maybe even a digestive tea that's most suitable for you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Wish you the best of health and happiness, and feel free to contact me if you need any assistance with your health. Thank you very much.